Welcome back to my channel, guys. My name is Tracy and we're here today with a nice, simple, easy to do frosty eye look. I really hope you liked it. I enjoyed making this video, so let's get right into it. So I just prepped my face, I washed it, and now we're going to moisturize using this Kiehl's Ultra Facial Cream with SPF 30. I really like this moisturizer because it makes my makeup look really nice and it doesn't break apart my foundation. So next, after that, I'm going to go straight into my foundation. So I use the MAC Studio Fix fluid in NC50 and mix it with my Teint Idole by Lancome just to balance out the shades because I'm still a little tan. So I'm just going to mix those two and put a very light layer on my skin. I don't like putting too much foundation in the beginning, especially with these makeup looks, because you need to go over it and just do a cleanup. But for now, I'm just going to do a nice sweep of the face and just blend everything in quickly. And now, using my Pro Longwear paint pot in laying low, I'm just going to prime my eyes. My eyelids tend to be a little oily, and so I'm just going to put on this paint pot to just make sure my eyeshadow stays on the whole day. I like to blend this upwards so that we won't have any issues of creasing towards the crease and the brow area. This also makes it easier for your eyeshadow to blend. And then over that, I'm going to set it with this mineralized skin finish natural in medium golden, just so that it doesn't look patchy when I start putting on those very cool tone shades. So using that cool tone dark brown shade, I'm just gonna do this in my crease, just focusing it on the outermost part of my eye, just to mainly create I guess like a shape on my eyelid. This shade, I really dipped into it a lot and went heavy on it. It wasn't too dark for me, which I really liked because it's a nice transition shade for the shades we're going to do today. And now, using my foundation brush, I'm just going to clean up the outer corners and the inner corners of my eyes towards my brows, just to make everything nice and neat. So we're going to go in with this frosty blue shade. I really like using this shades because they really pop on our skin tone. I'm just going to cut the crease slightly, but not too much, otherwise if you put too much product on the brush, you end up having too much fallout. So after cutting the crease, I'm going to pack on that shade onto my eyelid heavily, because I feel like without packing on the shade, these shades tend to disappear into the skin and start to look very like sheer and translucent. So we want that to stay on the whole day. So we're just gonna pack this on the eyelid. Then, using those two frosty darker shades, I'm just going to use this on the outer corner of my eyelid and taking a clean eyeshadow brush to just blend those two together. I didn't want it to be a super harsh line on my eyelid onto my crease area, so as I added on those two darker shades, I blended them out and pulled it just a little higher than my crease, because I feel like I have hooded eyes, so if I bring it up, especially on the front area, it starts to look quite nice and balance out the shape of my eyes. So then I'm just going back in with those darker shades and also a mix of the transition shade that I used earlier, just to blend everything out and also just to make sure everything looks nice and seamless. So now we're just gonna go into the rest of the face. Just gonna do my concealer. I love using this concealer because it's very dewy, it's also full coverage, and it lasts the whole day. So I'm just gonna put this on the dark areas of my eyes and around my mouth and my nose area. I like to pull this product towards my cheekbone so that it makes my whole cheek area just very dewy and nice. And then I'll show you a trick on how I use that to make my highlight pop. So I can't and I won't, but if I was your girl, So then I went in with my highlight shade, which is just the LA Girl Pro Conceal in the shade Warm Honey. I like to warm it up in the back of my hand because I feel like it's very thick if you use it directly onto the face, and then it can end up being a bit too much. So I just warm it up on the back of my hand and just apply it using my brush onto my cheek area, also along my forehead, just a little bit above my forehead, down my nose, on my cupid's bow, and also on my chin. So I'm just setting a very small area around my eyes, just where we put on the concealer. I'm going to avoid doing it on my cheekbone area where we put the highlight. I like to keep it moist and dewy, that way my highlight looks more natural. So now I'm going to go in with my mineralized skin finish in the shade Dark Deep. I love using this because it doesn't dry out my skin too much after the foundation. It sets my foundation at the same time and also allows me to be a bit more bronzy, seeing as it's summer here in Nairobi. So I'm just going to set the rest of my face, avoiding my eye area. So now I'm just going to use this blush by Sleek Cosmetics in the shade Sahara just to warm up my face. This cool toned eye really needs like a warm cheek or a warm lip, and I really like to warm up my cheeks, especially with this blush, because it's not too, how can I explain, it's not too orange, it's not too pink, but it still gives like a really nice natural bronzy effect. So I'm gonna pile this on around my temples or my cheek area and just make sure that I'm looking nice and bronzy. So I like to go back and forth into my eyeshadows that we used earlier just to intensify and perfect where I felt was a bit missing. So I'm just going to add a bit more of that deeper tone just to bring out the shape of my eye. We don't want it to be too one-dimensional. So I'm going to bring back that deepness into the eye and also just to perfect the crease area. So after lining my eyes with the eyeliner, I'm just gonna take this very light, it's like a frosty white blue chunky eyeshadow. I think this one was by MAC. It's called, I don't remember what it's called, but it's in the Dazzle shadow range. So I'm just gonna use this in the corner of my eyes, like in my tear duct, and also what's remaining on the brush, just gonna use it on my brow area. So I'm just gonna avoid any fallout or anything on my crease. So we'll go into the eyeshadow palette and use those same dark shades just to smudge out the eyeliner we used. I usually like using this technique because it makes it look like my eyelashes are a bit more fuller without actually doing too much, and also it's easier to take out when you want to take off your makeup. So because my face was melting, because it was so hot in this room, I decided to bake just a little on the areas I feel need a bit more mattifying. So I'm gonna do this around under my eye area, on my forehead, a little around my nose and on my chin area and around my mouth. Just gonna leave this to sit so that it just sucks in all the oil. I know I look weird, but it works. So as my face is baking, I'm going to use my mascara. This is the Benefit Roller Lash mascara. This is the little tiny one. I really like using these small ones because I feel like I don't know, for some reason the bigger ones tend to be too liquidy, so these ones are quite nice and easy to use from the get-go. I'm gonna coat my lashes heavily, and the good thing with this mascara is that you're able to chunk up your lashes without it looking too intense. And so because we did the baking, you'll see that the places where we didn't put any powder looks quite dewy, like I already have my highlight on, but I don't. And I really like this effect because it looks like natural, very glassy skin that's very soft, and it's a good look to have. Now we're gonna move on to the contour. I'm just gonna deepen my cheekbones. I feel like I was looking a bit flat, so I'm gonna use this angled brush to give a bit more dimension onto my face and my forehead. So now using these highlights, actually one is a blush, I didn't even show them. One is Whisper of Gilt by MAC, and the other one is Extreme Dimension Blush into the pink. It's very frosty and pink on me. So I'm just gonna use these two to give myself a really nice frosty highlight. We don't want to be looking golden, we just want to go in the theme of frost. So instead of using something golden, we're gonna use something quite frosty and like clear, like crystal. And I love this look. It's so easy to do, and you see how the highlight goes onto the dewy skin. It doesn't look like we're forcing the highlight. It just looks like it's like a glow from within. So now we're going to move on to the lips. I'm using this Liptensity lipstick in the shade Bite O Georgia, just to make my lips a bit more pale. And then over top, I'm going to use this MAC lip gloss from the Mirage collection in the shade Soft Shell. And that's it, guys. I really hope you liked this video. I really enjoyed making it, and it was something different from the usual that I usually do with the warm tones. And this actually is quite nice and complimentary on our darker skin tone, so you should try it. If you try it, please tag me or just send it to me on Instagram. My Instagram handles on the bottom bar. If you have any questions or any inquiries about my videos or this look or anything else, please don't hesitate to write onto the comment section at the bottom. I'll also have all the products that I used today on the description box below. So I'll see you guys later in my next video. I hope you have a nice week. Goodbye.